I'm gonna try to remember to leave some stuff to the end because the stuff that's not about books that I'm sure people don't really care that much about. But um, it's been it's been a good reading week. I finished four things. Last week, my weekly update included um, some stuff for my 4-year anniversary of this channel. But today, for is it the 27th? Yes, 27th of July, 2025. I just want to talk about what I've done this week. So, I do have a story that I actually originally had coming out that came out Triapa. Did it get accepted for republication somewhere? I'll share that when it comes out. But this week I finished. Let's see, first up, I finished No Man's Land by Simon Tolkien, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't really enjoy it a ton. It's not a great novel. I think it's maybe fine, maybe not even good. Depends on who you ask, maybe, but I just think it really missed a lot of opportunities. It doesn't really end in like a very happy way. If I think it's following that trend of things not going to plan, which is fair, right? You know what I mean? But considering it's supposed to be inspired by his grandpa, John Ronald, right? J.R.R. Tolkien, um, you think it would have been better, but it's actually kind of depressing. It really, really misses the mark on all the important things, actually, as far as like being based off something about J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, it is not about J.R.R. Tolkien, but it's inspired by that. But is his religion, is his Christianity important? No, the main character doesn't even believe in God, and there's literally no reason for it. He does not think through it at all. Is he like really into like nature and romanticism? No, nope. I mean, you kind of get some ideas because there's a coal mine, right? And that's obviously a blight on the land, but no, really, that's it. Is he into scholarship? Kind of, yeah, kind of. He likes to study Greek and Latin, and he goes to Oxford for like a semester, and then he doesn't go back. So is it really focused? No, not at all, right? So it's really missing a lot, I think. Really, the overlap is that the main character fights at the Somme, just like J.R. Tolkien did in real life. The reason I wanted to read this now is because the Somme, after the initial bombardment, the actual battle itself began in the beginning of July, which is kind of what came to mind. I've had this for a couple years, so while some of the stuff is definitely okay, also the main character is really not that interesting. I think because of that, he's purposely left kind of lame and dull. I mean, besides a couple aspects of it, he does have some heroic moments. His early childhood is interesting, but a lot of the later stuff in the book, just I don't care. Also, his love interest is not nearly as interesting as say like Edith Brat, right? She's really, really bland and not likable, really. So, not like she's terrible. She's just not likable, really. But there's nothing to like, really. So, it was okay. Very mediocre. In fact, my review on Goodreads was just womp, because it's just I don't know, disappointing. All right. I also finished. Well, I don't have any of these physically, so I also finished Doctor Universalis by Gaston Nerval, I think. Very short as novella, pretty much about Albert Magnus, real life saint, essentially. And it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was amazing by any means. I think I have like the lowest star rating of anyone on Goodreads, which is funny because I still enjoyed the book. I just think there's a few things that could have made it a tighter narrative and then therefore more entertaining. That being said, it does work rather well, especially since it's so short. It's just not a terrible amount happens actually. Most of what happens is stuff that happens to the main character rather than stuff he does, which only really stays that interesting. So, but I'm glad I read it. I don't know if this author's written anything else. It's also a very good example of kind of taking something from a time and getting a good sense of time and place. Right? It is very medieval and it's very much about like a novitiate monk. Right. Okay. And also read Road to the Patriarch by R. Salvatore. This one again is kind of better. Like Witch King, which what was it? The last one, something Witch King. I don't remember. And they were. This one's okay. Just say I kind of lost interest about halfway through because I really just don't care about Enchiri and Jarlaxle, I really just don't care. They're obviously anti-heroes. The characters I do care about, this is actually Salvatore's big problem. This has been the problem I've had with him for several books. And I've read like almost 20 now by him. And so I mean like that he's just anyone that's actually interesting, he pigeonholes them. He puts them in a box and he kills them normally. So I mean, like, and I'm just it's super frustrating because I like Driss is not that interesting, right? None of his companions are really at all. Wolfgar maybe was for a little bit in like the first book, um, and then Inchuri and Jarlaxle. Well, yeah, he's trying to give them character, but he made them so one-dimensional in the first place that it's nearly impossible to like. It just seems silly, like the whole story, right? And he tries to give them some reason for their stupid characterness by giving you a backstory of like the childhood of Jarlaxle and Jury in particular in this book. And it's just whatever. It just feels really detached from the main narrative. And like I said, like the best stuff you only get chunks of, right? Like the Gareth and his companions, awesome. The two Copper Dragon sisters, awesome. Callie or whatever her name is, I really like her character arc, right? But we're mostly getting Jarlaxle and Fury, who are not that interesting, really at all, actually, in my opinion. And then like the actual arc of things, what actually gets accomplished in the whole story, I'm not even sure anything really got accomplished there. So what a waste of time in a sense. But again, it is noticeably better written. I just think part of the problem is that while it's better written, Salvatore still doesn't know what he's doing as far as characters are concerned, and I'm afraid that's probably never going to get better. Right? I mean, I know I still have like 20 plus books still in the series, but I mean, it took him this long to get better written. Is he ever going to have good character work? I mean, I think if I read these as a teenager, I would think they're good character work. But reading them as an adult, and I've read all of them as an adult, I don't think so at all. So, anyways, Road to the Patriarch. I'm finally done with Cell Swords. I read that trilogy faster actually than the other Drow or Legend of Driss stuff I've been reading. So I don't know when I'll get to the next one. I think it's 1,000 Orcs. Is that what it's called? I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. I think I have a copy of it. I don't even have a copy actually of the Which King Won or Road to the Patriarch. So Road to the Patriarch, I should say. Right, and then the last book I finished was Running with the Demon. I actually really enjoyed this one. Really surprised by it. That is by Terry Brooks. It is the first chronological Shannara book. I know some people actually read Shannara in chronological order. I read it in publication order. But it is set in 1990s, 1997, in fact, rural Illinois, which I was born in the 90s, so I didn't really experience the 90s that much. But also, I'm from rural Illinois, and so that I think helped me connect with it a lot, actually. And I think Brooks is as well, which is probably why it's set there. And pretty much the idea is that there's this character who's a knight, kind of for the force of good, essentially the word, right? And there's the void, which has like demons serving it and stuff like that. And there's this girl who's only 14, and it's kind of her coming of age in this book. And the knight, he has visions of the future, and he's sent on these quests to make sure those visions don't come true. And he has visions of a post-apocalyptic future, and this girl, Nest, has a bad role essentially in that future, and so he has to prevent that. And I really enjoyed it. It was super enjoyable, honestly. Like I'm always surprised with like how dark Brooks manages to make his stories, and just how entertaining though. Like honestly, the first Shannara book I didn't even finish. I really did not enjoy Sword of Shannara at all, but I really enjoyed Elfstones. But I think honestly, Running with the Demon might be my favorite one I've read so far. That being said, I'm also in the middle of A Night of the Word, which is the sequel to Running with the Demon, because I normally don't read series that fast, but I really liked Running with the Demon. And honestly, I want to read Angel Fire East. For some reason, I just think that's like one of the coolest fantasy titles. I'm not even sure why, but Angel Fire East just sounds awesome. And that is the third Word in the Void book. And I know these are like the ones that kind of connect to the beginning of the Shannara stuff. I'm not so sure how much they do, right? Because so far, like the first one doesn't a lot. We know it's the same world as Shannara. We know Shannara is like far in the future, post-apocalyptic. I imagine it's actually the stuff that takes place after this, with like Armageddon's Children is like the first book that's set after Angel Fire East. Though I do think some of the characters probably in A Night of the Word at least are probably some characters that you see in Shannara actually. So even though that is in the future. So anyways, really enjoying A Night of the Word. I'm thinking so far that I'm liking it a little less, but we'll see how it ends because I'm a little over halfway through. So, um, also I went camping. My car died when I was camping, but I was reading this by the river, and it was very enjoyable. I'm not actually super far into it. I'm on page 60, House of Noth by Philip Fortman, or Wortman. I don't know. Someone you should tell me. Anyways, but I'm enjoying it. It's kind of interesting. It's about like nomads, and I think it gets broader in scope as the story goes on. But I mean, it's pretty good so far, actually, and um, not like something I'm super connected with right now, but I really like the ideas behind it, and we'll see what I think of the rest of the story. Also, I haven't read really much of either of these. My class now is pretty much over, and this is where I'll mention this actually. So I haven't really read much more Paradise Lost, but real quick, I guess actually is that I'm maybe about a third of the way, almost a third of the way through War and Tethir. So one of the Nobles books in the Forgotten Realms, book number 2. It's not connected to any other book though. So I read book 6 in the Nobles a few years ago, and I read book 1 a couple years ago, and now I'm reading book 2. This one is about the war on Tethir, the Civil War, and about this lady in particular. So as far as this, I'm not finished, but my class is pretty much over with Lockstyle Saga. I think I'll read it. I'll finish reading it anyways after class is over. I'm a little disappointed, and this is what I want to talk about at the end. The beginning of this year, I didn't take a class for school. I had a class I wanted to take, but pretty much when I started school, it's a really small school, so there'd only be 2 sections and there'd only be like 4 classes a semester, 4 classes, and 2 sections for the class, right? I was taking these Germanic philology classes, and there was one that would normally meet on something like Fridays or Thursdays in the evening when I'm working. That's my work week. And then ones I would meet on like Monday or something like that. That's my weekend. I have Monday off. It'd be Monday in the morning because the teacher is in like Norway or something. But the schools had less enrollment, and so they have to prioritize like one person, and the person who gets priority is the Friday person. So I didn't take any class the first semester of this year. I was able to fit in this semester right now that's ending now, the second semester, and but it was really tight actually. The problem was that we have a new HR person at work. And I probably shouldn't really even talk about it, but I want to mention the policy says essentially that you cannot split your time off in anything less than 6 hours. I don't have enough time off to cover 6 hours every Friday for 12 weeks, right? I have an hour. I could, if that's all I needed, I would need to leave work early because again, I work on Fridays. This is when I work. And so what was happening is I needed to leave work an hour early, but they wouldn't let me use my time off for it. So I keep on getting occurrences. In fact, I had none before actually, and now I have a few. And so essentially the problem is I could do this again next semester, and the problem is those Monday sessions are still not happening next semester. Is that I'll just get fired. I mean, yeah, I can take class, I guess, but I'll get fired. And so I mean that's not worth it. I mean, I need money, so I can't really afford to get fired. But I don't want to skip class. I mean, like I'm already taking my graduate program really slowly. It's gonna take me like 4 years to graduate. I've already been at it for 2 years, right? A lot of people are graduated at this point. And what's really disappointing though is that I cannot take a class next semester. I just don't see how it's possible. Literally every class that's offered next semester would have me. It overlaps with work, and my work. The new HR guy is being super strict on policy. The old HR person would not have been. They should honestly change the policy. And I work in HR, and it's possible. Some HR people just aren't very tough or willing to work with people. And then, unfortunately, so pretty much my problem is I'm going to get fired, right? If I take these classes, and then if I don't take the classes, then I mean, so there was an opening at work that I thought would work ideally well. Like it's something I'm qualified for. It is the pay would have been better, yes, but the hours would have been better, right? It would have not overlapped with all these classes, and that would have been perfect. I didn't get it. I didn't get an interview, which is weird because I had all the qualifications they asked for. Which is I don't know, weird to me. I don't understand, but and then and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect, right? Like I have these occurrences, but not like a ton, right? Enough to get fired or even to get a warning where then I can't get a promotion anymore. But I'm close-ish, right? So it seems like though, since I can't take classes this next semester, I'm probably not going to be able to take classes the semester after that because the classes that I could take next semester, there's 2 really that are options, but then I can't take either one of them because they both again overlap at work. that they're prerequisites for the classes that are going to be offered in the winter. So I'm not going to be able to take classes in the winter either, even if they're available when I don't work. So one of my goals this year was to get a new job, partially so I'd have a better schedule. I mean, like I kind of like my extended weekend because I work 12-hour shifts, right? But I really just don't like the work I do. I mean, to be completely honest, maybe I shouldn't like be publicly saying that. I don't enjoy it. I mean, like I'm very glad I have that job. I do a very good job with it as well. Um, like I'm actually the only person in my position. There's four of us that actually does all the stuff I'm supposed to. So I mean, I do a good job, and I'm glad I have that because I'm glad I have the income. But it's just frustrating that I keep on getting these roadblocks that are just like, well, I'm trying to go to school, and then I get punished for trying to go to school, right? They just punish me for it pretty much. They're going to fire me for trying to go to school, right? And then so it's either okay, I get fired, or I just don't go to school, and both of those are lame options, right? Um, so anyways, that's all that's on my mind right now. I'm very frustrated with that. But I left it at the end because I'm sure most of you guys don't care. And maybe I shouldn't be so personal on this channel, but it just feels like it's stuff I should mention in a sense. So anyways, that's frustrating. We shall see if I can work anything out, but I can work anything out the first semester. I don't see how anything would be different this semester or the next one. But again, I'm glad I'm able to do this stuff here. This kind of scratches some academic itches that I get. I'd really like to graduate though. I mean, because I'd really like to not have to work the job I work, which was my thought when I graduated, anyways, a couple years ago with my undergraduate degree. And I was like, hey, look, I can finally get a job that is a better use of my skills set, puts better use to my experience, and I work at a job that doesn't require any degree or any work experience. It's just feels like someone's laughing at me. Anyways, say lovey. And I feel bad. I feel embarrassed every time I share this stuff, so I apologize. But anyways, it has been a good reading week. Hope yours has been good. Let me know. I have some exciting videos for you guys. Hope you enjoy.